On this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast, forgive me, for I have spent. So welcome back to this week's episode of the Crushing Debt Podcast. My name is Shawn Yesner, owner and founder of Yesner Law, and I am joined, as always, by your financial coach, George Corbello. How you doing, George?
I'm doing well. Forgive me, Shawn, I have spent all my money on kids. I had kids and they've taken all of my money. So yes, I can feel the topic today, but I'm doing good. I have to say the weather is starting to pick up here in Florida, so it's not feeling so wintry. But apparently termites are now coming out all the woodwork because all the weather changes, and we have more things to fight here in Florida.
There are two types of houses in Florida, those that have termites and those that will get termites. Yeah. As I understand.
Is that how it is?
There's two types of houses in Florida, those that have mold you can see and those that have mold you can't see, something like that.
You're such a happy mood. How are you doing then, my friend?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling better than I did last week.
I see. We didn't have your deep, sultry voice.
I know. I'm still getting rid of the remnants of this bug, but overall, I'm feeling a lot better.
Good.
I don't know that I necessarily get the reference of today's show. You know, we don't really go to confessional.
Is that what it is? Okay,
I don't know what it's called.
Maybe. All I know is we all probably hold a little bit of those secrets. So theme of today's show is, allow folks to be able to get those secrets out in the open, even if it's anonymously. That's okay. But we are here to listen. We will judge you. I think there's still some judgment there, just for fun, of course. But seriously, we're obviously here to help. Be able to provide some insight into that situation.
All in good fun. Everything we do here is all in good fun. So
we do? Okay, I'll take it.
From time to time we do. So I actually just did finish. As last week's episode came out, I was finishing. There's a 2-day annual bankruptcy seminar in Tampa every year.
Nice.
That started 50 years ago by now deceased Judge Alexander Pasquet. Mm-hmm. It was a great seminar. I didn't have the opportunity to practice for very long in front of Judge Pasquet. I think I recall he had left the bench in 2011, and I started practicing in bankruptcy court in like 2002.
Okay.
So I had about 8-9 years there that I had appeared in front of him. He's a very, very smart bankruptcy judge, very knowledgeable. He in fact, I remember hearing, we didn't hear it this weekend, but I remember hearing in the past, he was a bankruptcy referee before there was a bankruptcy code. So it used to be the Bankruptcy Act, then it became the Bankruptcy Code. Mm-hmm. He was a referee in the days that it was the Bankruptcy Act. So he literally wrote portions of the bankruptcy law. He had a thick Hungarian accent.
Wow.
Where you could, he was difficult at times to understand. And so the one story that I remember about Judge Pasquet is at any time I was appearing in front of him, this was back before the days of Zoom, hearings were live, and the courtroom deputy, the courtroom clerk, used to print out the docket, the list of all the cases happening that day, and put it out front so that you could look and see where your case was in the order. And so I would go and I would literally write down like the 5 or 6 names of the cases before mine, because my thought process was, even though his accent is so thick and even though sometimes he was difficult to understand, if I wrote down the 5 or 6 cases before mine, I'd be able to pick one of those names out.
Right.
And so I always knew where I was in the order. Because what I didn't want to have happen is for me not to understand when he called my client's name and miss the hearing, right, even though I'm sitting there in the courtroom.
Right there, right. Okay.
So, but he was a good man. He was a great man. He was a great judge.
Awesome.
It was a great seminar. A lot of cool stuff that came out of that seminar that we'll probably weave in to some of the topics here in future shows. So be looking out for that. But today we've got some financial sins to talk about.
Mishaps, little stumbles. But I think all of us can relate to, when we talk about, these money secrets, right? Things that we probably would be embarrassed to say, and be able, and just have someone kind of hear our situation and kind of like, oof, what are other people going to think about? But you know what's funny? Social media. Most of these things that we're going to cover today as confessions, there's literally videos out there of people confessing of some of these situations. So it's funny how you deep dive into the wonderful world of TikTok and start to realize it's okay to post your stuff because apparently it's anonymous, sort of.
I mean, doesn't it have to be associated with an account?
Well, the feedback can be anonymous. You're like,
Right.
hey, dummy. But, but I think what we want to try and do here is just go through some of these secrets, some of these confessions, right? And you're right. Fun is one thing, but also be able to understand where do we think it's coming from? What's actually happening within that confession, and see if there's some help.
Right.
That we can provide from the lawyer point of view or from the coach point of view.
So what's the first confession we have?
So for me the first confession is always easy, right? And again, I'll say it easy in quotes, but like, hey, I make good money. I make $150K a year, but I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. Like, okay, that's you're thinking about it like I make good money. And I'm still like, where's that money going? So, but congratulations, right? I'm gonna do my first judgment here. You've achieved being broke.
Right.
You're making great money, moving up in the world, doing what you can. We're in broke status at this point.
Well, and I think I'd figure out why. Where's all the... Sit down and write a budget out.
That's one. Probably don't have a budget. That's probably one reason why we're in this situation.
But figure out where all, we talked last week about lifestyle creep.
Mm-hmm. That's another one.
Is that the issue? Or find out why, are you paying child support and alimony? Maybe your money's going there. Are you withholding too much from your paycheck every month? And maybe the money's there. Are you, gosh, this would be an interesting problem. Are you sending too much money to savings or retirement?
That could be an option. That could be, not just here's more to debt.
Right.
We can also be saving too much.
Or like you just said, are you putting too much on a credit card where you're not able to pay off that card every month? Are you spending beyond your means?
Yep. I think all of those are all possible items. Here's another one too. Like sometimes we have too many fixed costs, like too many costs that we're paying for, too many subscriptions, too many, going out. It could be one of those categories, right? Or even things around the house. The house can be a nice money suck sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And so, cleaning services, lawn care, things that maybe in your situation could be part of that lifestyle creep that is also, taking money away from you to be able to do other things. But yeah, I think an audit of your money situation is something to be, that you need to do right away.
Yeah. No, I agree with you there. So, and I should have said, should I, again, I mean, in my religion, there is no really concept of confessing your sins. Mm-hmm. But I kind of feel like I should have my yarmulke on right now if we're gonna be confessing. What's the next one?
So where we could say here we go. I'm gonna give you one that I know we talked a few, but I bought a car I can't afford, and again that's assuming you state it out loud, but because everyone at work drives nice cars. So even if you can't afford it, again sometimes we don't admit. But I've seen some admissions of like, yeah, I have a car I can't really afford because of everyone else.
So I remember when I was a young attorney, living in Miami, working in Miami. Let me back up further than that. My last year of law school, my car lease was up. I needed to get a new car, and so I went and I ended up leasing a nice GMC Sonoma pickup truck, and it was at the time one of the new designs where the back cab had a little bit of extra space, but it had that third door that opened the opposite way, so that the two doors.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
and then it had like the little drop down seat and whatnot.
Oh,
and
fancy.
So I said I was never as popular as when I turned 21. And then when I bought a pickup truck, because all of my friends, Hey, help me move, help me
let's go. Yeah,
do. I got to send
exactly.
this. I got to do this.
Sure.
So I own this pickup truck. I love this pickup truck. It was an amazing little truck. It wasn't one of these huge gas guzzling monsters, but it was a nice pickup truck. Well, I get to Miami and I start working in Miami, and I'm still driving the pickup truck, and I love it. And one of the associate attorneys comes walking up to me. What are you doing driving that pickup truck? So I liked it.
Nice car.
An attorney shouldn't be driving a pickup truck. I said, it's not like I'm doing my arguments inside of the truck, inside of the courtroom. The judge doesn't know what the clients don't know what I'm driving.
Your peer knows.
Yeah, but, she failed the bar like 4 times.
There you go. Okay, says a lot about that person, but okay.
Well, and she's a really nice person. She's a really good attorney now, but it took her a while to pass the bar.
Gotcha.
But why does what you drive impact how well you do your job? I mean, I get it. If you're a real estate agent and you're showing houses,
trying to do an image. That's
right?
One thing.
You don't want to show up in a car that's spewing black gas or black fumes and smoke out the back.
Correct.
I get it. And and if you're in trades and construction and whatnot, you don't necessarily want to show up to the job site in a Maserati.
Right.
I get that. If you're doing well enough to buy one, knock yourself
Let's
out.
go. Right.
But what kind of a professional image are you projecting in some cases? But again, this truck that I had, it wasn't a beat up Ford F-150. It was a nice GMC Sonoma pickup truck.
Yeah.
And so
Took care of it.
Yeah, I washed it regularly.
Sure.
I had a dog, which is why I had the pickup truck. So I would throw the dog and a whole bunch of stuff in the pickup truck, and we'd go out. But you don't need to have the fancy car.
We can justify the purchase, but if you're doing it because other people have it, or the parking lot, I stand out in the parking lot, and that's your reasoning for buying a vehicle that you can't afford at this point, it's not the wisest decision you can make when it comes to your purchases. I still get nervous because we still say the average car payment today is well over $500.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty penny, and the car is going to keep getting more expensive. The loans are getting more; they're getting longer. So it's just one of those kind of things where it's like, again, it's a depreciating asset. Do we really want to invest that much in something we know is going to go down in value?
Yeah, I had somebody finance, I want to say it was an 84-month loan on a 7-year loan on a car.
Dude. Yeah.
I don't even know that I would own a car for 7 years.
I mean, the warranty only covers you maybe the first 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
So maybe if you're lucky, first 4 years.
Yeah, first I was going to say 3 to 5 years.
So then you have to buy an extended. You're probably going to have to, put some investment after, and you're going to have repairs after the first 4 to 5 years in the car as well. So yeah, 7 years. So, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, to each their own.
Well, and again, last week, one of the things we talked about was keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes.
But I think the important part of your question is, I bought a car I can't afford because.
Yes.
If you can afford a nice car, buy a nice car.
If you're making millions, or if you're making, good money per month, and you can afford to, again, if you can pay cash, great. Pay for a car that is reasonable. But it's one of those kind of things. It does not make sense to have, $700, $800, $1,000 a month in a vehicle that's just losing the value, over and overnight.
Unless it's an RV and you're going to live in it.
Some cars you might be living in it as well if we're paying that kind of high prices. Just, the fair warning there. Come on, guys. Let me give you another one then from the confessional here. I maxed out my 401k, right? So that sounds good, right? That sounds fantastic. But I haven't spoken to my wife in about 6 months about finances. So right away we're judging like, oh, that's great. You're maxing out your 401k and you're doing your retirement. But I'm not having any conversations with my wife or my spouse about money.
Well, what strikes me about this one is because you'd think your spouse would say, cool, we're maxing out the 401k for our future. But are there other expenses that need to be taken care of that you don't need to put as much this month in the 401k? Or is your spouse putting into his or her 401k?
Right.
Is that your overall plan? Have you saved up enough to put the kids through college?
Yep.
What
are the priorities? What are the goals? If
Right.
we're not having those conversations, the only goal that matters is, first of all, it's the one you are doing, because you're the one maxing out savings. Your spouse doesn't know, so there's a disconnect there. My guess is there's probably separate accounts, because if you're not seeing the money
Right.
coming out, there's probably separate accounts that we're working through, and there's probably tension about spending. Like, we don't have money to actually do that because we're maxing out
all in the
of our money is
401k,
going to
yeah.
savings.
Or is the one spouse maxing out their 401k, but because they're not talking, the other spouse is maxing out a credit card?
Ooh, there you go.
Could you avoid maxing out the credit card by not necessarily maxing out the 401k?
So again, all good scenarios, all things to think about when it comes to. So for me, it's like, is financial success really more important than your relationship success?
Right.
Because basically your relationship is eroding while you're saying, like, yeah, I'm winning with money, but I'm not really winning at marriage.
Although, and so I don't do family law, so this is not family law advice at all.
There you go.
But the spouse that doesn't know that the other is maxing out the 401k, if the relationship devolves to the point of a divorce, and then the spouse gets half the 401k, they may be happy about that.
Well, it's money. It's
Right.
something, the assets that you're being split. So, but let me tell you, the person who probably was maxing out is probably not a lot happy about that that scenario. But you're probably, if you haven't spoken to your wife in these kind of situations, there's probably other problems within the relationship already.
Right.
Ooh, I like it. I like it itself. Here's a good one.
Sure.
You ready?
Yep.
Father, or no, I'm sorry, Shawn, for I have spent. Rabbi, for I have spent here. I used a HELOC to invest in crypto.
So you're going to end up living in your car.
What are you talking about? It's the in thing now. I'm buying crypto for the future. I'm doing the right thing. This is amazing, right, Shawn? Putting my house in equity and putting it into crypto.
So a couple of things there. Number one, people don't believe. Do you know what HELOC stands for, by the way?
A hell of a lot of, no, I don't know.
A home equity line of credit.
Yes.
Okay. What's the first word of HELOC?
The home?
Home.
Okay.
You would be surprised how many people walk up to me and say, I have a first mortgage and I have a HELOC, but it's not a mortgage. It's a home
equity.
equity
Yeah.
line of credit. It's a second mortgage.
It's a second mortgage.
So if you don't pay back, if your crypto crashes and you can't pay back the HELOC, you can lose your home.
Yeah. It is kind of collateral, right? Isn't that what that
Home equity line of credit.
But what are you talking about? I'm gambling. Am I gambling with crypto? What are you talking about? Isn't crypto the solid, and it's the growth is there, and I'm gonna make a ton of money. That's what I'm gonna be doing.
Yeah, so I'm trying to pull up right now and tell you how. So the last time I actually looked at any of my crypto investments, it's been so long that the app on my phone
reset.
Yeah, it went into like hibernation mode, so I had to reload it. Now let's see if it'll actually let me in.
I love it. Well, here's the thing: we're leveraging risk, right? We're using our home to be able to. We think it's an investment, right? We always justify some of this thinking, and it's like, oh, this is an investment, right? An investment in my car, an investment in crypto, an investment. But there's a lot of risk that's involved in some of these types of investments. I don't know if there's enough to say. We're gambling with borrowed money. You could borrow money and put it in. Would you borrow money and put it into the stock market? That's being done as well, as part of the investment plans.
Well, would you borrow money and take it to Vegas?
People probably do that too. So yeah, but there's an opportunity, there. Shawn, what do you mean I can't? I think I can. This is going to be easy. To be able to, I'll make the money in twofold, and I can do all. There's a lot of ifs and maybes when it comes to that type of, I'll call it investment.
Right.
Okay. I All right, so I mean, just let everybody know. Sean gave me that look of like, what is wrong with this guy?
No. What I'm doing is it's been so long, I can't get into my account here because I don't recall the password.
So we're doing real time. I need to forget a password scenario right now. Okay,
so that I could, because I have a point to be made here.
It's just intriguing stuff, people.
Yeah, because I'm trying to. I'm doing this for the listeners. I am a host that works for my listeners.
I like it.
So I had to go dig up my. There it is. Oh, good Lord! Now it's texting me a code. Now, okay, there you go. Put in the code. Device not recognized.
Oh boy.
Please check the email we sent to continue. Forget it. What I was going to try to make the point of here is that years and years and years and years ago, I invested or gambled. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Invested, we won't, it's not that bad, I guess.
$100.
Okay.
Into crypto.
Nice.
And so now, okay, good. My device is confirmed. Okay, let me in.
So riveting stuff here, guys. This is, he's looking at his app and he's seeing what he invested in.
I got to do Face ID now.
Oh my! All right, guys. Sorry, I really appreciate.
We're gonna get there eventually. I promise. I promise we will get there eventually.
Is there anything you would borrow against your house to invest in? I mean, some folks.
I would borrow against the house to invest in the house.
In the house.
Okay, so.
Ooh, I like that.
I am finally there.
Oh, okay, good. Sorry.
Okay, so I put $100 into a crypto program.
Mm-hmm.
It is today
worth
mm-hmm. $53.28.
Nice. I think it went the wrong way. I think it. Hey, as long as it's not zero, it's not $2. But it went down in value. Okay.
It went way down in value.
Okay. So definitely, if I put $200,000 into crypto, you're telling me I could have $100,000.
Well, there's that,
give or take.
There's that old saying that if you want to make $1 million in crypto, you invest $1 billion.
Okay, this guy. All right, let's he's sorry, my friend. I know a lot of you're gonna get a lot of hate mail now in regards to our crypto investors. So like Shawn, you don't know what you're talking about. So let's go talk about another confession that you may know about. Actually, you don't, but I'm just gonna play. I haven't filed my taxes in 3 years because I'm afraid of what I owe.
You'd be surprised how many bankruptcy consults start out that way.
So why? So again, I think it's self-employed, right? Businesses, entrepreneurs who are, kind of a little bit afraid of, the not even understand what they should be doing from a tax perspective. But I'm gonna assume that's also with personal for people who owe. I've been working. I don't want to pay my taxes or anything like that, and they're just like, wow, if I file them now, I owe probably tens of thousands of dollars in that situation.
So a couple of things.
Assuming.
A couple of things. First, you do tax planning during the year. I have other friends of mine that own their own businesses
Mm-hmm.
that have said, I own my own business. I haven't gotten a refund in years. I've owned my own law firm since 2004,
mm-hmm.
and I've gotten a refund every year.
Oh, okay.
It is possible to own your own business and get a refund.
Right.
Now, I try to minimize that refund, so I think last year my refund was like $300 or $400.
That's okay.
But I get a refund every year. Just because I'm self-employed, you do some tax planning, you'll get a refund.
Yeah.
So if you're afraid because you're going to owe money, then you're not doing enough planning during the year to ensure that you get a refund. Number one,
or don't owe anything. I think at the end of the day, if you don't owe,
right,
not worry about getting money back. That just means you're giving money, away. But it's just more of making sure you don't owe any.
I think for me, when I get within a couple of $100 either direction, so I'm going to get back $100 or I'm going to owe $100. To me, that's fairly break even. That's kind of where I want to be. But the other thing here is, you haven't filed tax returns because you're afraid of what you owe. So you understand that if you don't file returns, you get penalized.
Right. The clock starts.
So you owe more.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't file my returns because I'm afraid of what I owe, but because I didn't file my returns, now I owe more.
Yeah.
File them.
Mm-hmm.
The IRS will settle with you. You can come up with payment plans or whatever with the IRS. So go ahead and file. Plus, that also starts the federal government's statute of limitations in case you filed something wrong.
Right.
That starts where if you don't file, the statute of limitations never starts. So, I get it, but no good has ever come from burying your head in the sand.
I just don't, avoidance, fear obviously is one kind of emotion that plays into it. Avoidance is now just a reaction, right, to that fear. But all of that's just going to give you a bigger problem later down the road. You're going to owe money. You're going to owe more money, penalties, fees. If it's
Interest.
drastic, interest. If it's drastic, you may need support. So you may need an attorney. That's going to cost you more money. Nothing is free. So I think it's one of those. Try to get beyond the fear and go and actually start today to get that situated so that you're not in the same position 3 more years from now, and then
Right.
of course the number is even bigger by that point as well.
Right.
Woo. All right. I like here we go. All right, this one's always fun because I've heard it. I imagine you've heard it. Doesn't make sense, but I think both of us always scratch our head. But my business is profitable, but I pay myself almost nothing. That's okay. I is maybe for your first year or is that even? But I hear that all the time. I feel like new entrepreneurs, self-employed. People who are starting off, it's kind of like, I just want to put everything into the business.
Which I get. But I think the flip side of this coin is not understanding the differences between profit and cash flow.
Right.
And, or the other side of that coin is my business loses money every year, but I pay myself $500,000 salary.
Right.
Well, maybe lower your salary and your business will be more profitable. And a lot of times when I'm looking at the profit of the law firm, I take my salary out of the equation, or I add my salary back in. So for example, on paper in 2025, Yesner Law suffered a very minor loss, a couple $1,000 loss for the entirety of the year.
Sure.
But my salary's in there. So if you take my salary out, the company actually profited.
Right.
So I think this question, I like this confession, not question, because it's the difference between profitability, cash flow,
Right.
Owner compensation, all that kind of stuff.
No, and I love it. Owner compensation, discipline, obviously. Knowing the differences of things like cash flow, revenue, profit, all of those, especially as a new business owner, we tend to kind of like, I just make money. Isn't that my money? Isn't that? And it's like, no, because you have to pay taxes. Yeah. Going back to the other subject, you have to pay taxes. You have to pay expenses. You have to pay your salary. Now, would you work for someone else for pennies on the dollar because you want their business to grow? I mean, it's the same. No one would.
No.
So why do it for your business?
Yeah, I was going to say, unless it's your own business.
Right. But
the only time I've ever known somebody to work, even now, I probably work for Yesner Law for much less than what my market value would be in another firm. But the difference there is it is my firm. It is profitable. It does generate enough money to support me and the boys. So I'm okay with it.
Sure.
But yeah, one of my goals almost every year, one of my resolutions, reaching back to a former episode, one of my resolutions is to pay myself a larger salary.
I would say, in order for you to, like, what's your market value saddle? Again, that's just a hypothetical. But knowing that value and saying, okay, what does your business need to make from a revenue standpoint in order to support that expense? So if you want to give yourself a 20% raise, does that mean your business has to do 20%, 30%, 40%?
If you wanted to give yourself a 20% raise, the company probably has to do 30 to 40% better.
Right.
Because not only are you going to give yourself a 20% raise, but there's more tax withholdings
Yes.
that may be due. In order to do that raise, you might have to bring in more help. You might need to bring in more help to be more profitable, to be more efficient. Bringing in more help is going to eat into the bottom line, so you need to make more money to offset those expenses. So it's not the business made 20% more, I can give myself a 20% raise.
Well, I mean, that's, once again, I think once we get past that thought process, you've matured. Welcome to adulthood in business. But I think once you have achieved that, I think it's important for folks to kind of know your market value. And Shawn, I'm with you, man. Like, dude, if you want your 20% raise, let's, again, nice goal, but let's make it, what do we need to do, right? Is it a few more clients? Is it a few more advertising, a few more networking meetings? But let's get you that market value, because, dude, you deserve that thing. You work hard, brother.
I had a former employee, I stress former employee, walk up to me one day. This is at the old firm. This is the pre-Yesner Law days.
Sure.
Walked up to me and said, I want to know how this firm is going to pay me $1 million a year. And I looked at him and I said, you generate the firm $10 million a year, and the firm will pay you $1 million a year.
Love it.
He didn't like that answer.
Well, I mean, it's a simple answer, you know? So so there you go. Shawn's going for $1 million, people. That's what you heard it first on the show. So
I'd be cool if Yesner Law made $1 million.
Yeah, we'll get that. Hey, another goal. Another goal.
We're almost there. We're hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s away. But we're almost there.
I'm rooting for you then, brother.
Yeah, thanks.
I want that raise. Let's start generating. Let's help Shawn generate that raise for himself this year in 2026. So, all right. So what? Let me get another confessional. Let me see. I got Shawn. I co-signed for a loan for my family, and now it's ruining my credit. What did I do wrong? What happened?
So this is kind of an offshoot of one of the things we talked about last week of take care of yourself first.
Yep.
And so co-sign, I don't have any problem with co-signing. I'm a dad. At some point, I'm going to have to co-sign.
First car.
I get it.
Yep.
But make sure you don't end up paying it. You know, make sure you've got the ability to make sure that those payments get paid. Because if they don't, you co-signed. You're gonna be liable.
You're gonna be liable for it. So your kids, right? I would do it for my girls. Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, just to help them out, build credit. I get that. But we're doing it for cousins, brothers. You know, my uncle Ned. You know, we're doing so. That's where I start to again. Where are the boundaries when it comes to that support? And we just say, not a good idea. It's not a good idea to do these kind of co-signings. I see it all the time now, and it's so funny. You're doing it all the time now for student loans. Mm-hmm. We're going into education, and we're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get an education that maybe will be replaced by AI. And I
doubt it. Especially after the seminar this weekend.
But that's what they're telling me.
I know. I don't know that AI is.
That's what TikTok told me.
I don't think AI is the threat that people think it is.
Well,
I think it can be, but I don't think AI is the threat that people think it is. But one other interesting thing, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. On a Parent Plus loan, if the student dies, the debt is forgiven. And I remember we talked about that on a former episode of somebody got in a lot of trouble for suggesting that the one way to make student loans go away was to die.
Yeah.
And I think they meant it sort of satirically.
Yeah.
But factually.
But it's true.
If I'm a parent and I co-sign for my child's loan and something awful happens where my child passes away, the loan is forgiven. I don't have to pay it back. So, I definitely co-signing. We talked about this. I forget if it was last week or the week before, but co-signing for a car.
Car is very common.
And then you have to file bankruptcy. Well, I co-signed for this car. My name's on the title to the car. I co-signed for the car. It's my kid's car. Now I have to file bankruptcy. Now you've got to have a conversation with your kid about whether we can keep their car or not. And the challenge is if you co-signed with your kid and the car ends up going back, you may not be liable if you end up filing bankruptcy.
Correct.
But if your kid co-signed, your kid could still be liable.
Jeez.
So now you've made things worse on your kid by co-signing.
Everybody, right? Everybody involved is now pulled into the universe.
I hate to say that co-sign. As I'm talking it out loud, it kind of sounds like we're anti-co-signing.
We're no judgment here.
No judgment. We're not anti-co-signing, but just be careful.
You have to know the risk related to doing it. Some folks will tell you it's the worst thing. It's bad. You can't. It's just it is an option,
Right.
but you're probably co-signing for someone who can't afford the payment, according to the bank. Technically,
Right.
the bank is like, I don't trust that they will make the payment. You're co-signing so that you can help that individual get the vehicle, so hopefully they can make the payment.
Right.
So there's a risk involved. So yeah, that's a scary one, but I think it's a confessional that we hear a lot.
What about one more confessional?
One more. Or you want me? That's for me. Let me see. Which one do I think we had some before. But I can throw you one more. Hold on. And this is common. I took a high-paying job that I hate just for the money.
Yeah. That's why I became an attorney. Except I haven't hit the high paying part yet.
You have to get the high paying part.
I still have to get to that. No, and I love being an attorney.
I mean, a lot of us, we the mantra out there, right, is we have to, make as much money as we can, right? The hustle is real. My goodness, what do you mean? You make good money, but if you're miserable at what you do, right? Because everybody says you got to do what you love. Get the job or the career that you love that's going to keep you motivated. But sometimes we do chase the almighty dollar, and it's easy to kind of like, yeah, I high paycheck. I'm gonna take it, and even though I'm not liking what I'm doing, I'm doing it for the money. There was I'll give you here's one. TikTok had
Right.
somebody. Would you take a job that was $240, that was 5 days a week in the office, or take a job that's $120K and be fully remote?
$240 in the office or $120 fully
Same job.
remote.
Just two different offers.
So for me, I would probably take the in-office job only because I would be afraid of not being as efficient if I were remote. If I'm
Gotcha.
in the office, I'm more productive.
So you're looking at, obviously efficiencies, being in the office. I look at it when you say being in the office, being seen,
Right.
being available. Because people see you, they can just talk to you when you're in office. I'm remote work versus this is not. All I'm saying, people will see the number, and it's like, do you go for the number or do you go for the situation? Because some people don't like being in the office, and it's just fully being remote allows me to be home, be able to focus and not have distractions. Again, I'll say that in your own home office, but yeah.
So the other thing, guys, I'm relying on outside technology a lot today in this episode. One of the things I looked up was the agenda for the bankruptcy seminar that I was just at. One of the sessions, which I thought was a really good session.
Go for it.
I thought there were some things that she could have also covered, but I thought overall it was an amazing session. It was called The Connection Between Doing Well and Being Well.
Ooh.
And that's exactly what it was. It was the connection between taking care of yourself and doing well in your job.
Sure.
And she brought it down to 5 different areas. I don't recall what the 5 areas were, but one of them was I think it was like mental, spiritual, physical, relational. It was different areas. She only talked about 2 of them, but it was different areas where it was this concept of, again, take care of yourself first, and we practiced breathing, and we practiced eliminating stress, and it was all this other stuff.
Meditations, makes
right.
sense. Makes
so
sense.
I think I would probably be more on the side of if you love what you do, you will make a lot of money doing it.
I love it.
I wouldn't necessarily take a high-paying job just because it was a high-paying job. I would want to enjoy the work.
I love it. No, and that's going to be. Is that a wiser choice as we, we're wise men in our elder years here, or because again, young people might have a different perception, and perspective on that as well. So I think all of this is meant to get you thinking, and I think that's what we want to do. There's no right answer. And here's the other thing: with all of these confessions, if one hits you home, there's no judgment. Like,
no,
you're normal in regards to the situation. I mean, someone else is going through what you're going through. It's now, though, what are you doing now? What's the next step? Do you want to change that situation so you don't feel like the secret is haunting you in the evening and in the daytime? And just seek out the help to get you out of that situation.
Get help. Talk to your spouse. Create a budget. Do the things that you need to do, that these things don't become time bombs for the future,
or resentment in the relationship, or just stress, unnecessary stress, just because you're trying to make money.
Dude, I've talked openly on the show about being a type 2 diabetic, and the more that I look at it, it almost doesn't matter. There have been days where I'll eat perfect. I'll eat healthy. I'll drink 8 to 10 glasses of water. I'll exercise, I'll move around, I'll do all the stuff I'm supposed to do. I'll wake up the next morning, my sugar's high. Then there's other days where I go out and I drink and I smoke a cigar and I'm sedentary all day and I eat like garbage, and I'll wake up in the morning and my sugar's perfect. And I think what I've stumbled on is that I think my diabetes is being driven a lot by stress.
Stress. Absolutely.
I think a lot of it is stress.
Absolutely.
And so I'm trying to do things now to reduce my own stress levels, and then testing and monitoring to see what that impact is on my sugar. And since I've been monitoring my stress, my overall sugar levels have come down.
Nice.
So
lovely.
I do think there is a connection between stress and health and all of that, and loving what you do and the amount of money. Do you want to make $100,000 a year? Do you want to make $1 million a year and die at 55?
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, sorry.
And die at 55, or do you want to make $100,000 a year and live comfortably until you're 80, 90, 100 years old?
Right.
I don't know that from 90 to 100 would be very fun, but whatever.
But be comfortable now.
Right.
To be honest with you, be present, be comfortable, enjoy your family, enjoy your time, enjoy your youth, because that's the other thing we think to, like, I'm young, I can do everything, and I cannot, and it's like, dude, just be present today and enjoy what you got. But at the same time, the number or how much you make doesn't dictate how happy you are.
No.
Just makes life a little easier, I guess you could say that.
Right.
But it doesn't equal to happiness.
So what do you all think? I want to hear some
confessions.
And if you want to email them to us, if you want to post them on social media, if you want to be anonymous about it, that's fine with us. But what are some confessions either that you've heard or maybe that you've said or thought about yourself? Let us know. Maybe we'll do a future episode where we'll talk about, listener confessions. Father George. We'll talk about
Rabbi Shawn.
Pastor George. We'll talk about
we're in trouble.
Some confessions here. So, one way that we will help you with your confessions, go to patreon.com/crushingdebt. You can always help donate there to us, which any money we get from there goes back into the show and back into helping you all with some of your debt issues and helping you with that. We've also got now we're into March as this episode comes out.
Yes.
We're about 7-8 weeks away from the Purple Stride Pancreatic Cancer Walk. So you can look for the information on the show notes to join the My Legacy Striders team. I have a goal of being the number 1 team in Tampa Bay this year.
Nice.
2 years ago, we were the number 3 team. Last year, we dropped to the number 9 team. I want to be the number 1 team in all of Tampa Bay. So we have that goal. Plus, that'll raise a lot of good money for pancreatic cancer research and families going through fighting this disease. But other than that, Thank you, Pastor George. I feel better now.
Rabbi Shawn, I appreciate your
Father
enlightenment.
George.
We are so in trouble, but that's okay. Thank you, Shawn.
I'm looking to see if there's any lightning clouds forming over.
It is going to rain here
us.
today.
Yeah. So, meanwhile, we do hope that you have more money at the end of the month rather than month at the end of the money. That'll do it for this week's episode, and we will talk to you in next week's episode of the podcast.